It's the Canada's Podcast Network.
Hi, everybody. It's Bonnie Elgie, and welcome to Canada's Podcast, Canada's leading entrepreneurial podcast network. With COVID-19 making many of us question how we will make it through the next weeks or months, we thought we would begin to add new items and opinions from some of Canada's entrepreneurs who are part of our ever-growing network. Many have been through personal experiences that can resonate today, and hopefully some of this will be passed on to our listeners and help you as you figure out your response to today's challenges. The fact is, most of us can and will work through this and break through on the other side with new ideas and success. So today, let's chat to two of the guys behind Canada's Podcast and its parent company, Perceptible Group. Please join me in welcoming Leandro, Dumlao, and Bliss. So, Phil, you've been in business for a long time, and I'm wondering, what would you tell our listeners today in terms of how they can best navigate these challenging times?
Well, I don't want to be paternalistic or anything, but I mean, for me, the most important thing is to think and to care about others and look for opportunity. The key thing is we tend to get isolated like this, but you've got to look for opportunity. You have to be fearless, but not stupid. And if you do that, then you should break out at the other end. I think that would be my kind of capsule advice.
Leandro, do you want to add anything to that?
Absolutely. I totally agree with Phil. You have to be fearless, but also smart, right? You can't just kind of take risky chances. It's better, especially in today's climate. But you also need to take risks. I also, take a look at the evolution of entrepreneurs through adversity. If we take a look at what happened back in 9/11, I was still in school back then, but I can imagine myself being an entrepreneur at that time. I would probably be facing, a lot of anxiety as well. I probably would have thoughts that the world is ending. I know that for many, many, many months, people were even afraid to travel, right? But, things got better and the economy got better. Businesses thrived after that. And I do believe that, opportunity lies in adversity, and we need to just be able to weather the storm. And I think that beyond that will be greener pastures.
Well,
Yeah.
Phil, in some of our conversations, you've shared stories about starting more than one business during a recession, and I'm wondering if you can share a couple personal experiences.
I'll do that. I'm a little older, so I have that knowledge. I think I've actually lived through 4 recessions. Maybe a couple of other blips, but what I would term recessions. But I mean, just to look at, the dot bomb, if you like, the 9/11 one, which was a double hit. First of all, we got dot bomb, and about, I think it was 15 months later, we got 9/11. I lost $5 million worth of business in 2 weeks with the dot bomb because the investment just got pulled away. And my clients folded. Okay, so there was nothing I could do about it. We stayed in business. It was very, very hard, but that was sort of the name of the game. How do we stay in business? Well, we started to transition and realize, after .com, the technology side of business was a wasteland. I mean, so a marketing company servicing that wasn't going to be getting a lot of business. So we looked at where could we take our skills in that early web development, UX, all that kind of thing. And higher ed was glaring us in the face. Fortunately, I had someone introduce me to another company that had a very good background in higher ed. And lo and behold, 9 months later, after partnering on a few jobs, we merged together. So that was pretty good. But having said that, 9/11 hit, and again we all took a dive, and I think there it was just good operate. It wasn't really a recession. There was just good operations and minimizing overhead. And most of us, made it through kind of like now, maybe 3 or 4 months of a flatten, and then it very quickly came back. So that was really a different, in 2008, just to give you the three that we all remember, higher ed was kind of dwindling a little bit, not dwindling, but not as promising as it had been. So we were within higher ed, realizing that technology was lifting off. So therefore we started to develop basically Facebook applications, online research applications. We didn't, we did okay, but we weren't one of the big guys that made it through the night. Just about none of us did. So that side of it didn't work. But what we did was reposition ourselves as a technology specialist by doing that and having a team that really understood that and could sell those skills to others. So, a bit like you were saying with SEO and getting in early, Leandro earlier, we were right there at the beginning of the social movement, not only on, a posting and a this and a that, but actually on an app level, on a technical level, integration and all that kind of thing. So that's where you go. You look at what people are going to really need as they break out of this kind of change. And if you spot it right, then you're a winner.
Right. How about you, Leandro? Do you have an example from your career where you had to make lemonade out of some lemons?
Absolutely. We've all gone through our ups and downs. Some are, been elating highs, and the downs can be, soul crushing moments. So it's actually coincidentally, back in 2003, I started off my career as an entrepreneur. And what happened there was we actually got affected by the SARS epidemic. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Not that different from this, really.
Exactly.
It's not on the scale, but
And 6 months during and after, we literally lost all of our clients. So as a recent graduate, putting kind of like our heart and soul into the company, it was soul shattering. But like all entrepreneurs, right? Like we're tough. One of my passion is actually boxing, and in boxing we have a saying that you get knocked down 7 times, you get back up 8 times. You just keep getting back up. So that's what I did. I literally picked myself off the floor. I went and printed 50 resumes. I went old school. I literally hit the pavement, started knocking on people's doors, looking for a job. And I kid you not, it was my second last resume. Went into a startup, which was actually great because it was a good fit. I had, kind of the entrepreneurial mindset. And they weren't looking for any help at that time, but they really liked the initiative. They liked the kind of the attitude and the assertiveness. I explained to them my situation. So they weren't looking for anybody, but they did open up a spot for me. It was temporary. And, lucky for me, I got in, and 6 months later, I was actually heading the creative and design team. And within that 6 months, I was actually even able to build our SEO team as well. If you could think of it, back in 2003, SEO was a fairly alien construct. Mm-hmm. So again, for me, that's an example of, making lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, building off of something Phil said right at the top, to go into this time also with an attitude of service and how can we help each other. And as a solo entrepreneur, I've reached out to all of my clients, whether they're current or past clients over the last couple weeks, and just said, is there anything I can do to help? And it's led to several new engagements, and new business opportunities just by coming in and saying, what do you need and how can I help you connect with the people who are most important to your organization? And it's interesting to see too how even competitors in a traditional business setting may be coming together to help each other out for the greater good.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering, I mean, we're hearing a lot about, everyone now being asked to work from home across the country. Do you have some tips on how to stay focused when you work from home, or resources that you would direct people to that could maybe help with productivity?
Yeah, I guess, I think working from home, my tip is look at what you're doing. I mean, I was giving a friend of mine who runs a training business, a crane training business, actually. And, he'd had, I don't know, a dozen, cancellations, postponements, not saying no cancellations. And I said, well, why don't you do it virtually? And so I actually was giving him a run, walking him through Zoom a little bit, and realizing, and he realized, just like I'll do here, he realized, that he could put, a virtual background on with a crane on it. He could give, he could give all kinds, of lessons, maybe not practical, but theoretical lessons to people on their phones, at home, on a tablet. And he was still thinking, well, they've all got to come into one room. I pointed out, no, they don't. So I think, I'm a digital guy, but I think if you're not, one of the things to realize is really to look at the tool sets that are there, and that over the last 4 years, say, have just, improved phenomenally. I mean, Zoom's not the number one performing text doc, and I mean performing upwards, not downwards, on the markets for a reason. They have the right pieces. It's not an ad for them. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to work from home, look at the tools that you can use to keep doing business, maybe in a little different way, and maybe that's a bit of a hill for some people to learn, but it certainly can. You're never going to regret it, because if you can do things this way, then you can keep doing them this way. So it doesn't. There's no regression, and it's a progression. So I think that's the working from home thing that I would say, that is to look at the way you've been working, and look at a new tool set. That home isolation. It's not really isolation. We're all online with each other all the time. So yeah, we've been doing it for forever, but it's not isolation. So just that's what I would say.
Yeah. Leandro, how about you? What are some of your favorite collaborative tools or online tools that help with productivity?
Yeah, for me, it's I'm going to go a little bit tactical. I think I've got 2 young kids, so they're 3 years old and 1 year old. And for me, it's actually getting ahead of them. So what I usually do is I wake up really early, 4 a.m., 4:30. It was actually, I got going a little bit late this morning. I got up at about 4:45. And by the time I, started getting into the swing of things, it was half an hour later. Mm-hmm. But I usually like doing that. I just love the solitude in the morning. I feel that I wake up and I'm fresh and I'm just good to go, right? Good to go, like ready to tackle on the world. And then I get, some of my most important work done at around that time, because I have about 2 hours of just like go. Excuse me. There's no distractions. And then after that, obviously, you need to take care of the family as well, making sure that, priorities are set for the day. One of the things that I really live and die by is my calendar, right? On my mobile phone, it's on my laptop.
Yeah.
And even the night before, what I usually do is, okay, I check off what I've done during the day, and then I kind of prioritize what my day is going to be.
Right.
So either I, put it down on I have a little notebook here actually that I have, and throughout the day, I just compile my notes in here. I review it at the end of the day, and then whatever is top of mind or a priority, I put it into my calendar the next day.
Right.
So I kind of like automate things. I'm not that smart, right? But I tend to like use, different things to really like help me out and keep things top of mind.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd like to ask both of you a couple questions we normally ask our guests, and then we'll wrap up today by talking a little bit about what Canada's podcast is going to do in the weeks to come for the entrepreneurial community across Canada. But I'm curious, so what are you doing these days to help manage stress? I mean, I think none of us are immune from feeling the anxiety of the changes that are happening so quickly around us. So what are you doing to minimize stress? And Leandro, I'll start with you on this one.
Cool. So actually, that's a really good question. Now that I'm kind of cooped up inside the house, I usually train pretty much every day, 7 days a week, and my training it revolves around boxing. So I usually go out for runs, do my conditioning, plyometric drills, isometrics. I go to the gym, do a little bit of weights for explosiveness. But what I'm really missing is the actual boxing. And I feel that if I don't get that release, it's kind of like my life-giving sword. If I don't get that, kind of like my stress levels skyrocket. So being cooped up, I've actually, I like staying active. So I go out for runs, especially now that we're practicing social distancing. I pack the kids up into their double stroller and we go for a 5K, a 10K. Yesterday, I was so just charged up. I think I did about 1,100 push-ups.
Wow.
A day. So
And you should point out that you do live in the country, so you can go for a run and probably not see anybody. Okay, so that's
exactly. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. And how about you?
Yeah,
sorry.
well, I'm the opposite. I mean, I like to stay fit and everything, but for me, when I'm stressed, I work. Work for me is it's an awesome thing. I just love to do it. And so if I'm stressed, I work my way through it. I create something, I write something, I do, add up projections, do this, I do something around that, okay? Think of new ideas, just like we've been talking about. I mean, think of that kind of thing. If I can come out on the positive side of that, even it doesn't have to be a breakthrough thing every time, just a positive side of it, the stress just clears away,
Mm-hmm.
So that's really, I think that's my greatest. So I guess mental exercise, I guess I look, if you love your work, then it's a positive mental, then it's not stress, it's positive stress. Positive stress, read the book, is an awesome thing. So if you do things with positivity, then positive stress is a life-saving thing, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would actually echo Phil's sentiment there. If you love doing what you're doing, it's not work, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think it's really important, although we've been forced to hit pause in a big way right now with some of our maybe planned activities for the Q1 and Q2. It's important to keep setting goals. This at some point will pass and we will have an opportunity to continue on in a different type of normal. But for me, what's really helped over the last couple of weeks in terms of mindset is to set some new goals and to map out, what I can do with this gift of time to get myself on the path to achieving those things.
Good.
Absolutely. Well, the other question, I'm just wondering, do you have any books or podcasts or resources that you'd like to recommend to the community?
A couple of books, that are really based on interviews with others. So they're based on experiences of others. One's called Entrepreneur: How to Start an Online Business by Lucy Tobin. I think that's a really good book. And again, very engaging interviews. So it's not using other people's words to help you resolve how to do that. And a great one that I read ages ago, The $100 Startup by Chris Gillibo, which is excellent. And again, it's using other people's knowledge so you can learn stuff. So I think that those are kind of very much relative to where we are today, kind of thing.
Yeah. Leandro?
I like that. Yeah, I'd like to add to that. I actually have it right beside me. So this has been my companion for the last couple of weeks. It's called the Daily Stoic. It's I see myself as a student of philosophy, and I find that Stoicism, especially in the current crisis or events that we are experiencing today, has actually, really helped me out, right? Kind of talks about, philosophy about, meaning of life, how do you find true joy? How do you harness the power of reason, right? A lot of us are, kind of like tunnel vision right now. We think that the sky is falling, but if we take a look at just even the history of the human race, right, there's been a lot of calamities. And I believe that, philosophy such as Stoicism has been with us through the ages, and it's been tested through time. And yeah, for people that may need a little bit of a pick-me-up or just, kind of a different perspective on things, I would definitely, recommend this book. It's called the Daily Stoic. There's one excerpt that lesson or tidbit that you can read every single day for about a year.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, we've talked a little bit about just how we can bring the Canadian entrepreneurial community together more. And that's always been a focus and a priority for Canada's podcasts. But Phil, maybe going forward, what do you hope that we can do and how we can serve the entrepreneurial community in the weeks to come here as we navigate COVID-19 together?
Well, I was going to say, the first thing is to realize that we are a community. And the reason that we started Canada's podcast, Canada's Entrepreneur, with that entrepreneurial focus, was we felt that really there wasn't a platform that was talking, our whole crew are entrepreneurs like yourself. So there wasn't anyone talking to entrepreneurs, all kinds of entrepreneurs across the country. Tended to be, the startup stuff, the tech stuff, the this stuff, the that stuff. And we just wanted to talk to everybody. And we are the most vibrant, and I would say the most important community in the business community in the country. I think, you can sense that now because we're all, on a stress level on shaky ground. So that we employ a heck of a lot of people and generate an incredible amount of demand and revenue. So I think, we wanted to meet those people and connect them with each other so that they could learn from each other. I think that will always be our mandate. We have some very big ideas in the future, which I don't know whether I want to roll out quite yet, but it's working. Leandro can talk a little bit more about that. But after 17 months, we have built a community. We definitely have a presence in the country. People are hearing from us. Bonnie, you're a solopreneur PR person. We're getting, nobody knew about us. We're getting all kinds of people in marketing, PR, whatever, connecting with us, which means, that we're people are listening to us because they want us, they want their people on the show. So it is working. working, and I think I can say to everybody, stay tuned, because we have a lot of cool things for entrepreneurs that will really, build up the community and make it even stronger. I mean, we're absolutely committed to doing that. It's been one of the, I've been an entrepreneur for over 30 years, but still been, the last 18 months have been super interesting, in the sense that if you listen to, there's 250 interviews, just go listen to them. People are super interesting. And I like the diversity, which means not everyone gives you the same solution. Some people came there and doing it differently than others, and I love that. That's, so I'm a host, but I'm a listener as well. I love it.
Well, and we're not going to stop profiling businesses and stories during this time. And so it's an opportunity to tell more of those stories across the country about what entrepreneurs are doing.
Yeah, I mean, I interviewed the CEO of WagePoint a couple of days ago. I mean, and the stunning fact of the matter is, and they're in Canada and the US, the stunning fact of the matter is that his staff were normally do 200 ROEs a day. That had increased already to 2,000 ROEs a day. So you get this interview, oh my God, it's so close up. That's the reality of it, and that's kind of the stuff you get, the information you get.
Right. Leandro, anything else that you would like to share before we conclude our chat today? Anything else you'd like to give our listeners a word on, or?
Yeah, I'd like to just echo what Phil said, right? When we have been envisioning Canada's podcast and Canada's entrepreneur, it is all about community. Especially, in these tough times, I think community is what's going to get us through the hurdle, the challenge. I think the beauty too about what has been done is that, as we foster that community, we're also giving entrepreneurs that individual voice, right? We're giving them that platform to tell their stories. And you know what? Not all of it is rosy and peachy, right? There's a lot of things in entrepreneurship that is really, really hard. And kind of reminds me of this book, The Hard Things About Hard Things. It's only when you're faced with that hard reality will you be able to figure things out, right? There's nothing really pre-built out there that can get you through adversity. So I think that we're really proud of what we've done with Canada's Entrepreneur, and the stories that we were able to bring our audience. And as Phil has mentioned, in the next coming months, there's going to be a lot of really new and exciting stuff around that. But at the end of the day, it is still going to center around community, and it will still center around the entrepreneur and the stories that they bring.
And there will be some incredible and inspiring stories that come out of this time that we're in. So
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you both. It's been so much fun to chat with you today. And I think everyone who's tuned in to listen, and I encourage you to keep checking back. As both Phil and Leandro have said, we have many exciting things to share with you in the weeks to come. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you all.